We're here live. We're just normal people that want the Bill of Rights and Constitution. We studied it. We have offshore banks robbing us, looting us, setting up Northcom, militarizing police so they can get away with robbing us. They think they're God. They hate the general public. They want to reduce the world population. And they've got so many yuppies and mainline people thinking they're part of the system and part of the power structure. You're not. And police and military are really waking up. The general public's waking up. Everybody needs to speak out and stand up. We're going to open the phones up in the next hour. 1-800-259-9231. And, Bob, I've been trying to talk to you during the break, but you were away. If you'd like to ride shotgun 20 minutes to the next hour, if you can't, got something else to do, that's fine. Because I want to get into Bankstergate. You were talking about it last week with us. It's now big news. Timmy Geithner and the crimes he's committed. Open discussion of him being indicted or having to step down. No, he's just a bag man. Needs to go further. Bob, can you stay with us?
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else on the Obama's favorite for Supreme Court Justice Sunstein wants to ban guns and free speech? I'm going to finish that clip, just the gun part. I forgot to play that. Anything else on this guy?
Not really. Just go ahead.
Guys, do you have that gun part queued up again? The very last part? Just play the 30-second clip, just the isolated clip of him, where he specifically says, after he says the Second Amendment, you heard the part of the clip, isn't really for individuals, and it's a new idea. That's that same party line. They got caught publishing that fake book that was a lie 5 years ago, and the professor lost his tenure, also from Chicago, that said it. We exposed that fraud. Professor Lott did. Then he goes on to say, look for it to be overturned in the next 3 years. Here he is.
In terms of judicial developments, it is striking and noteworthy that well over 2 centuries since the founding, the Supreme Court has never suggested that the Second Amendment protects an individual right to have guns. Not once. It would be amazing, though, given that fact, though don't be surprised if the first time it happens is in the next 3 or 4 years.
So this guy is saying you have no right to keep and bear arms. Bob, there weren't rulings against the Second Amendment until 1933, and that's when they first restricted it. It's been a universally understood right. No laws over, just like no laws respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. The federal government has no jurisdiction, neither do the states. That's one of the few things that the Constitution says the states don't have even. And under the 10th Amendment, it's reserved to them. And now, look, the churches under 501c3 are completely government run. I mean, this guy, as a constitutional lawyer, he knows he's a liar.
One of the things that I catch in his speaking about all this, he doesn't come on to me as being particularly intelligent, and he seems very tentative about what he's saying. And that would bear out what you're saying in the fact that he knows that he's lying.
Well, he's a Nelly, too. I mean, why are these guys always a bunch of Nellies?
Oh.
Well, let's not. I mean, the point is they're all, we're ruled by a bunch of Nellies. When are men going to stand up against this, Bob?
Well, we'll get there. We just got to keep on doing what we're doing, and the audience has got to keep on doing what they should be doing and informing everybody that they can. And then we can stop these people, and we start by getting Congress dismissed. And we get new people in there and say, look, we don't want you getting paid off by the pharmaceutical companies and the banks and the insurance and Wall Street who really run our country. We don't want that anymore. And we don't want you to go up there and do what we don't want you to do. We want you to represent us, not those people.
And they're saying, talk to the hand, talk to Northcom. We're outlawing your speech. We own you now. Back in 1 minute. Let's get into the healthcare takeover, Bankergate, and a lot more. Bob Chapman is our guest. We're going to open the phones up as well coming up in the next segment, 1-800-259-9231, and we will get you up and on the air today. Going back to Bob Chapman. Bob, shifting gears into the economy, you are one of our leading experts. You have one of the most accurate forecast, theinternationalforecaster.com. Year after year, you've been right. I want to get into the government health care. I mean, I've looked at both House and Senate versions. They're both horrible. The, of course, conference version is secret. They've been doing that behind closed doors. Obama breaking his promise on that. We've got all this happening, and this has really enraged the left. That they found out they're not getting to rob the rich people. No, the rich people wrote this as a big scam. Bob Chapman.
Well, I think there's, first of all, the control factor. Having national health care, socialized health care, controls the person. It controls the modalities which you'll be treated with and whether you'll be allowed to live. So government has control over your life, and if they deem that your life should be eliminated, they can do that. The second point, I think, which is very, very strong as well, is that there are 50 million people who don't have any insurance presently, and it would be mandatory for them to have that. And that's the insurance companies. They're making all these noises and grumbling over some other points, but they want this thing because they want those 50 million participants. And so that's a very, very strong reason why this health care thing is a live or die for the administration, but it's also going to prove to be extremely profitable for insurance companies.
And it's fascism because you've got corporations going to the government and making it the law you've got to buy their services.
That's right.
And it cuts Medicare and Medicaid to the actual general public.
Never mind the fact that there's going to be many, many health professionals going to say, no, I'm not going to do this. Especially people in their 50s and 60s and 70s who are working and practicing.
And this has been a big wake-up call. You've got 18 attorney generals saying they're going to sue because it's selectively. Certain states don't have to do it. Labor unions don't get their nice health plans taxed like everybody else does. I mean, this is completely discriminatory. It is, and the thing is, how long will it take us to get it through the courts, because they do control the courts. And then what kind of a decision are we going to get? The same one we're going to get from the Sunstein? The control that they're trying to put over us could happen. And if it happens, it's just going to push people further to the edge because the economy is not responding and can't responding because it's so thoroughly corrupt. I mean, you see these people being and we'll call it interrogated by Congress. They're arrogant. They don't care. I mean, we've got companies out there, like there's 3 major companies in the brokerage business, and they've made $200 billion, which they're going to pay out to their employees, the top ones, of course. And that was done in part with taxpayer financing. And then there are $80 billion in tax deductions. $20 billion of that goes to just 3 firms. And that is Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan Chase, and Morgan Stanley, the 3 biggest in the country. And nobody talks about all of the offshore businesses that they have where they don't pay any taxes at all. I mean, this is true looting of the entire American public. Let's talk about Bankstergate, talk about Google and systematic censorship worldwide, your phone calls, and a lot more. And what's happening with gold with Bob Chapman.